Hello all my dear friends, once again I welcome you back to my YouTube channel Modern English with Khandu Dayal. Friends, if you are new to my YouTube channel, please like, share and subscribe to get more videos. Dear friends, in today's video we are going to learn the lesson 1.2, The Thief's Story by Ruskin Bond from 10th Standard English Medium. So let's have a look on the first activity, that is warming up, which is at the beginning of the text. Read the following incident. Now an incident is given here and we are supposed to read it. So let's start. Lokesh had always been a class topper in tests and examinations. However, invariably he used foul means during exams to gain those high marks. Once, on the day of history examination, Lokesh realized that his classmate and friend Farhan came all prepared for maths instead of history. Farhan had become desperate, so Lokesh offered to let him copy from his answer sheet, since Farhan sat just behind him. Farhan refused and said, "It's alright even if I get 0, but I can call it my own 0. I do not want to score a single mark unearned. Cheating in exam is for cowards, not for me." Now these words were a turning point in Lokesh's life. He gave up cheating forever. He worked hard for what he desired and never ever used false measures to acquire anything. Now this is what an incident is all about. Now we as a learner should supposed to complete the activities which is given below. So let's start with the first activity. Let's read. In the given story, which words or phrases can be replaced by the following ones? Right, now we'll just going to replace the words or the phrases from the following words. Now the words has been given here. The first word is become aware. Now what does that mean? Means realized, right? That is what we can replace the phrase. The next is always. So here always could be replaced with invariably, or invariably as a phrase can be replaced with the word always. The next is very upset and helpless, right, which could be used in place of desperate. The next is cheating, which could be used in the place of foul means. The next is without working for it, which could be used in place of unearned. The next is a sudden change, which could be used in place of a turning point, right? And the next one is gain or achieve, which could be used in place of acquire. So this is what all about the phrases and words which could be replaced by the other words. The next activity which is given here is summarize the incident in 6 to 8 lines, making Lokesh the narrator. Now this activity is very enthusiastic and it is a kind of comprehensive activity, right, wherein we need to assume that the narrator is Lokesh, right? So let's start with the activity. I was always a class topper in tests and examinations. However, I have to accept that I invariably used false means to gain those high marks. Once, on the day of history examination, Farhan became desperate as he had come prepared for maths instead of history. I offered to let him copy from my answer sheet, but Farhan refused, saying that he did not want to score a single unearned mark and that cheating was for cowards only. This was the turning point in my life, and from that day onwards I gave up cheating and learned to work hard, whatever I wanted to achieve. Dear friends, let's start with the actual story, the thief story, and have a look on the introduction of the writer. The thief story was written by one of the most important and reputed writer from India, that is Ruskin Bond. He is an Indian author of British descent. He lives with his adopted family in Missouri, India. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He got the Sahitya Academy Award in the year 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra for his published work in English. He was also awarded the Padma Shri in the year 1999 and Padma Bhushan in the year 2014. So, dear friends, let's start with the actual story, The Thief's Story by Ruskin Bond. But before that, I would like to say something about the story. This is a simple and heartwarming story about a small-time thief and the man he robs. And what finally happens? Let us see the actual story. I was still a thief when I met Anil, and though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. Now the word or the pronoun I refers to the narrator. Right now, the narrator himself is a thief, and he is very much skillful in his job and successful in his job, where he met with Anil, and the narrator is just 15 years old. Let us see what happened next. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him, and Anil is the another character in the story, right, who is very simple and innocent man. So what was Anil doing when he approached towards him? So he was watching a wrestling match. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow, and he looked easygoing, kind, and simple enough for my purpose. Now, the narrator is saying that he looked like as if he's 25 years old, and he's thin, he's tall, and he's lean, right? And he looked like easygoing for my purpose, that I can easily deceive him, that I can easily cheat him. I hadn't had much luck of late night and thought I might be able to get into the young man's confidence, and thought that I am much lucky that I will be able to get into that young man's confidence, that I will be able to deceive that man as he is so lean and kind-hearted and easygoing. Then let's have a look on next what happens. Now there is a conversation between Anil and the narrator. You look a bit of wrestler yourself, I said. A little flattery helps in making friends. Now the narrator is praising the Anil, and he's saying to him that you look like a wrestler yourself. And he started doing a flattery. Now what does that mean, flattery? The word, if you could see here, flattery means insincere praise. Now he's just praising that Anil insincerely. What we can say, now he's praising which is not true. Right? He just insincerely, just to make him friend, just to allure him. That is why he is praising him. To whom? Anil. So do you, he replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. And Anil replied back to narrator and said, yes, I am a wrestler. And that made him feel that what I am, that he was not so good. Who? The narrator was not so stout and bold. He was rather thin than Anil. Well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. And the narrator started a conversation with Anil, that he said to him that yes, I do wrestle a bit, but not in much number. Well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. What is your name? And the Anil started asking him, what is your name? And the narrator replied back, Hari Singh. I lied. I took a new name every month that kept me ahead of the police and my former employers. Now the narrator replied back to Anil saying that my name is Hari Singh, and he was thinking that I took a new name every day, every month. For what? Just to keep away from getting into the clutches of police and to deceive the employees that he wanted to deceive. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestlers who were grunting, lifting and throwing each other about. And after the short introduction of each other, Anil was talking about the well-oiled wrestler, that there was a wrestler who was well-oiled and well-built and stout and bold, and the way he was taking the his opponent, and how he was throwing back and how he was throwing that opponent out of the ground. That is what the Anil was talking about, the wrestling match and the wrestling ground. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually, and as soon as they had a conversation with each other, so Anil started walking from that place, and the narrator started casually following Anil. Hello again, he said, and narrator is saying again and again hello to Anil. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I want to work for you, I said. And he just starting following him, and he said to him that I wanted to work for you. So whether will you keep me as your servant or not? That is what he is having a conversation with Anil, and he just giving him the appealing smile that whether he will be able to take him as his servant. But I can't pay you, and Anil is saying that I'm not able to pay you. Even if you want to work for me, I will not be able to pay. I thought that over for a minute, perhaps I had misjudged my man, and the narrator started thinking that maybe I would have misjudged my man, that he's not of that sort, he's not of that kind, he's not rich enough that I maybe deceive him or I maybe rob him, but he is not of my sort. So he's thinking in that way. I asked, can you feed me? See, the conversation is going on between two, that is Anil and the narrator. So Anil says, can you cook? Wherein narrator says, yes, I can cook. And again he lied. Now this spot the second time when the narrator lied to Anil. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. He took me to his room over Jamna Sweets shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. Now if you are able to cook, then I will keep you as my servant, or I will keep you and I will feed you. So Anil took him to home, and they went in the room. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible, because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. And what happened that day, the narrator cooked her food, but that food was not good, that not tasty, because Anil gave it to a stray dog. But I just hung around, smiling in my most appealing way, and he couldn't help laughing. But what the narrator did, he just hung around him, just giving him appealing smile, and Anil could not help laughing. So Anil all the way he was laughing by looking at him. Later he patted me on the head and said, never mind, he would teach me to cook. And after some time, what happened? Anil said to narrator that don't mind, or don't bother about it. I will teach you everything, how to cook and all that. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write the whole sentence and to add numbers. See, the kind of relationship both of them are having is very nice and intimate. If you could see, now they are developing a kind of friendship and a kind of friend relationship with each other. So wherein the Anil has started teaching him the numbers and letters and name and everything. So he also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write a whole sentences and to add numbers. And Anil agreed that he will teach everything to narrator, that is, he will teach them sentences and to add numbers and all that things. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. And the narrator started feeling grateful for Anil, because he started teaching him the words and sentences and how to add numbers and everything, because Anil was a good man, and the narrator himself, he was a thief, right? And even though he was thief, but Anil was not aware about his professions. But even though Anil started teaching him, Anil started doing good things for the narrator, that is Hari Singh. And the Hari Singh started feeling great and proud that he is going to get everything and he is going to get knowledge, and once he get an education, that he will be able to write like an educated one, and there will be no sky's the limit for his achievement, that he will achieve whatever he want by being educated. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supplies, usually making a profit of about ₹1 a day. And the narrator started feeling very grateful and happy and pleasant for working Anil, and he used to make everything for Anil. So one day what he did, he made a tea in the morning, and he offered to Anil. So as the Anil went for his job, he started doing some business, some work from home, and he went out to bring some day supplies and some groceries and some goods for their day-to-day life. And in this way, Anil used to give him money to bring or to buy some groceries and some goods for their day-to-day life. But what the Hari Singh used to do, he used to save some money from the money which is given by Anil to him. So in this way he used to make money from Anil's money. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. And the Hari Singh, that is narrator, feels that Anil know everything about him, that how does he make money and all that things. But Anil didn't seem to mind of his business, whatever money he used to earn or whatever money he used to save from the day-to-day supplies. Anil made money by fits and starts. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next week. And how does Anil make money? That he used to make money by fits and starts. Now what does it mean by fits and start? In short, irregular intervals. Now what does Anil do? That he used to borrow the goods for 1 week and he used to lend to the next week, and that's how he used to make money out of those things. Anil made money by fits and starts. He would borrow 1 week and lend the next week. Now Anil was a smart and intelligent man. So how does Anil make money? That he makes money by fits and starts. Now what does that mean by fits and starts? It means in a short irregular intervals. He would borrow goods for 1 week and he used to lend that goods to the next week, and in this way he used to make money. He kept worrying about his check. Now whenever he used to sold his goods, he started worrying about his check, whether the check will come or not. But as soon as the check comes, he would go out and would celebrate with his friends. It seems he wrote for magazines, a queer way to make a living. And the narrator could understand that how does Anil make money, or how does Anil earn money. So he came to know that he makes money out of the writing, and Anil has written many things for newspaper and magazines. That is why he earned a lot of money. One evening he came home with a small bundle of notes, saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. And Anil one day came home with a bundle of notes with his hands, and he started saying that he has just sold a book to a publisher and he made a money. At night I saw him tuck the money under the mattress, and the Hari Singh, that is the thief, he started observing Anil. For what? Because he wanted to deceive him, he wanted to rob him. But unfortunately Anil could keep his bundle of notes under the mattress. I had been working for Anil for almost a month, and apart from cheating on the shopping, had not done anything in my line of work. Now the Hari Singh, that is narrator, now he feels that he had been working for Anil since many days, almost a month, but apart from cheating in the shopping, he has not done anything for his line of work, and he had every opportunity for doing so, and he's just saying to himself that I had every opportunity to rob him, to deceive him, but he did not do so. Anil had given me a key to the door and I could come and go as I pleased, because he felt that I could have robbed him the way I want, because Anil has given me all the key of his house. So I would have come the way I pleased, I would have gone the way I pleased, so I would have done whatever I have felt, but I did not do so. Why? Because Anil was a very kind-hearted man, very sophisticated, and he was a lovely man. That's why the narrator, that is Hari Singh, could not do anything. He was the most trusting person I had ever met, and Hari Singh, that is narrator, started feeling that he is the most trusting person that I had ever met. So whatever person I had met ever before, they were not that much trusty, but the Anil is much more trusty and he is so kind-hearted person. That's why he has not robbed him, and that is why it was so difficult to rob him. Hari Singh is saying to himself, just convincing himself that, and that is the reason that it becomes quite a bit difficult for me to rob him. It is easy to rob a greedy man because he can afford to be robbed, and he is just saying to himself that it is very much easy to rob a greedy man, right? Because he won't have any sort of effect and he will afford to be robbed. But it is difficult to rob a careless man. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he has been robbed. But it is very difficult, quite difficult to rob a careless man, because he won't notice that he has been robbed at all. And that takes all the pleasure out of the work, and that will take the pleasure out of the work of deceiving or robbing the person. That is what the Hari Singh is convincing himself, saying himself that it is quite a bit difficult to rob Anil because he is very careless person. Well, it is time I did some real work. I told myself I am out of practice, and if I don't take the money, he will definitely waste on his friends. Even though I am out of my work, even though I am out of my business, but I will have to rob him. Why? Because even if I won't take money from him, he will definitely waste it on his friends, and that is why he took the money and he went out. Dear friends, this was about the first part of the lesson, the thief's story. Don't forget to watch the part 2 of the same lesson. Thank you so much.